So I give thanks that Richard Cash is here with us again today. If you don't know, Richard Cash is the leading voice for consistent, clear pro-life effort in South Carolina. Richard Cash is the champion for unborn babies in the South Carolina Senate. And what I want you to do when you go home, I want you to talk to your senator. I want you to call him up and I want you to say these words: be like Richard Cash in the South Carolina Senate when it comes to unborn babies. That's a simple message. Say, why is Richard Cash the only senator? Are there other senators here? No. Why is Richard Cash the only senator standing at Personhood Day? You can ask your senators that. Stand beside him, strengthen him. Do not leave him out there by himself. Please welcome Richard Cash. He's been in this, come on. Richard Cash has been in this battle for 40 years. Listen carefully.
Thank you. I want to start by telling you a little story. In September of 2017, I went to a meeting with the Greenville Women's Club, and there was 3 speakers that day. I spoke, and Ashley Lawton spoke, and the third person to speak was Catherine Templeton, who was running for governor at the time. And I spoke on personhood because that's what I'd been asked to speak on. And then Ashley Lawton came up and gave her testimony. And then Catherine Templeton spoke. And Catherine also gave a pro-life witness and a pro-life testimony. But the interesting thing that happened was in the question and answer session, when Ms. Templeton was taking questions, someone submitted a question, and it wasn't me, that asked her, do you make exceptions for rape and incest? And she gave the strangest answer I've ever heard to such a question, because she said, well, not for rape, but I do for incest. You know, rape and incest are something that always go hand in hand, and it didn't take me but a second to figure out what had happened. She had just heard Ashley Lawton give her testimony about being conceived in rape. And she was sitting 15 feet away from her, and all of a sudden, this abstract idea of abortion in cases of rape and incest wasn't abstract anymore. Yes. Because there was someone sitting there who had been conceived in rape who was a real person. That's right. And that was that powerful. That was that moving, that I believe, and I don't know, I believe it changed her mind instantaneously. And Rebecca Kiesling stands up here to speak to you today. She's going to have some testimonies to share with you in that regard as well. In the spring of 2019, the heartbeat bill passed out of the House and was sent to the Senate, and it came over to the Senate with exceptions in it for rape and incest. Now, we need always to be careful to state this. Rape is a terrible crime. Is a horrible thing that is done to a woman. And yet, we know that the baby, if a baby is conceived, is still innocent. The baby, in a sense, is a victim also, because which one of you would want to be conceived in circumstances like that? I have here 2 models of babies in the womb that are 12 weeks old. And if we were talking about a baby that was conceived between a husband and a wife, and a baby that was conceived as a result of rape, my friends, they would look the same. They're both human beings. They're both persons. And so we're not in any way trying to say that this is not a big deal. Of course it's a big deal. If a woman becomes pregnant as a result of rape or incest, she has a hard thing to bear. You know, I say, in a situation like this, there are no easy answers. And I believe that. There's no easy answer. But that doesn't mean there's not a right answer. That doesn't mean that there's not a wrong answer. It just means that there's no easy answer. Because if you terminate the life of that baby, that's something that's going to follow you all of your life. You may think about that every day. We believe in a redeeming God.
Amen.
If a woman is raped, we don't believe that's the end of her life. But if an abortion takes place, it is the end of that baby's life.
Yes, it is.
I knew this bill was coming over, and I got to tell you, there were some people, not a whole lot, but some people in the personhood effort who wanted me to vote against the bill and just kill it in subcommittee. They wanted me to kill the heartbeat bill in subcommittee so that we could then bring a personhood bill to the floor. And I thought about that, and I prayed about that, and I didn't have peace about that, because what would have happened if I had voted against the heartbeat bill in subcommittee is we wouldn't have any pro-life bill, folks. It's not like the powers that be would then say, oh, well, they've killed heartbeat, now let's just do personhood. They'd say, oh, they've killed heartbeat, now we don't have to do anything. But as I looked at the situation, what became clear to me was that a battle had been picked. And the battle was the battle for human beings that are conceived as a result of rape and incest. That's where the battle lay. And that I was going the idea of removing that exception. And that's what we did. At the subcommittee level, we were able to remove the exception for rape and incest and send the bill to full committee without that exception. At full committee, my amendment got tabled so that now the bill which has been sent to the floor of the Senate does contain exceptions for rape and incest. I can't tell you today whether that bill is even going to be coming to the floor of the Senate. Okay, that's not my decision that I have the power to make. The Republican caucus has that power to make as a group, as a whole, but that's where the decision pretty much lies. But I will say this. If that bill comes to the floor of the Senate, as people who support personhood, you need to understand that's the fight that we have to fight with that bill. That's the fight where you're going to have to get engaged. You may say, well, I don't care about the heartbeat bill. I just want personhood. There's a personhood principle at stake here that must be won for personhood to ever have a chance. Personhood is based upon the idea that a human being created in the image of God from the moment of conception forward has an inalienable God-given right to life. We're not going to pick and choose which babies can live, which babies can't. So this battle that we are engaged in to save the lives of people like Ashley Lawton and Rebecca Kiesling, that battle must be won in order one day to win the personhood battle and pass personhood/abolition type of legislation. Now, I want to say it is morally right to fight that battle, but I also want y'all to understand, because some of y'all here are strong supporters of heartbeat as well, that it's politically smart to fight that battle and that we have to win that battle. And let me tell you why. For some legislators, they will vote for the heartbeat bill, but they don't want to vote for it with the exceptions in the bill, right? Now, the pro-life community as a whole is going to bring a lot of pressure to bear to pass the heartbeat bill. Pass the heartbeat bill. That's the message that's going to be communicated to senators. Pass the heartbeat bill. If we pass the heartbeat bill with exceptions in it, what kind of effort or momentum do you think it would then take to turn around next year and say, now we want to add exceptions? Just pass a bill now and do it with exceptions, because there's always saying we can deal with the exceptions later, right?
That's it.
We can pass the bill, and then next time we can deal with exceptions. You've lost all political leverage. You've lost leverage. See, they want to be able to vote for the heartbeat bill, while some don't want to vote for exceptions. You have to make it so you can't have one without the other.
That's right.
You can't have the heartbeat bill and have exceptions, because you destroy the principle of pro-life. You have singled out certain human beings that simply don't have a right to life because of the circumstances of their conception. And if you can't pass the heartbeat bill without getting rid of the exceptions, you're never going to pass the heartbeat bill again a second time to do away with exceptions. A little over a year ago, a friend of mine told me that he had some money that he wanted to give to Personhood to help promote Personhood, and he was willing to do something, and did I know of something he could do? And I couldn't think of something that would be really meaningful to do with that money that he was offering. But this past fall, as I saw this battle kind of sizing up and coming into focus, I realized we got to get Ashley Lawton's story out. We got to create a video of her telling her story, and we have. There's a 1-minute video. You can find it on the personhood.sc website, a 1-minute video of Ashley telling her story briefly. Why? Because it puts a name and a face and a story to this abstract idea of killing babies conceived in rape and incest. And it changes the narrative. Now you need to get your senator and your representative to watch that video. Can they not spend 1 minute to watch a pro-life video, especially the ones who claim to be pro-life? Can't they spend a minute just to see what this woman has to say and how she feels about being singled out as someone who's not worthy of legal protection? If the heartbeat bill comes to the floor of the Senate, folks, we've got to win this fight. We've got to take out rape and incest exceptions. Now, I've got some well-meaning pro-life people who are asking me the question, will you vote for this bill if it has exceptions in it? And I got to tell you, they're asking the wrong question, folks. The question they ought to be asking is to the other Republican senators, will you stand with Senator Cash and remove the exceptions from this bill?
That's right.
That's the battle that's before us. We need to win that battle because it's a core principle of personhood. Every single life is deserving of legal protection. Every single life created in the image of God is deserving of legal protection. We have some wonderful speakers who are coming behind me today, and I am so glad that you took the time to be here. Just keep in mind, if we take out rape and incest exceptions in the Senate, they'll have to go back and do that in the House. And the House people will then need your support. And I think they can do it in the House as well. They can take it out in the House. We can pass a bill that if the baby's heart starts, you can't stop that heart of any baby. Not of any baby. Thank you very much.